Hey, one of the most common things I hear when I mention doulas and doula work is, what is that? Most people these days don't know what a doula is. Even though they've been around for centuries, they've really fallen off the mainstream in the past few centuries, probably. I don't know how often or how soon, how recent in history doulas actually became uncommon, but the fact is that they did at some point become uncommon, and now we're starting to see a resurgence of doula work because we're realizing that it's so important. Okay, real quick before I get off on a tangent, a doula is someone who serves women through pregnancy, birth, labor, and postpartum if they so wish it. Um, Most of us work with pregnant women during the pregnancy process and during labor and birth, maybe a little bit postpartum, but anyway, there's postpartum doulas who only work with women after they give birth, right? And depending on if you're a labor and birth doula or a postpartum doula, depends on kind of what you're going to do and what your job really entails. Because a pregnancy and birth doula is going to help you understand the processes of pregnancy and labor and birth, the OB system that is the common thing that we find ourselves in this process in these days. Help you understand the procedures that are routine in these systems, and help you understand the things that your body is going through, what your baby's going through, and what you can do to prepare for this magical time in your life. A postpartum doula comes to your house after you have the baby and helps you with the housework, the nursing, breastfeeding, caring for the baby, gives you a break if you need it. Just, it depends on whatever the mother needs at any given point in this doula mother relationship. But we support the mothers emotionally and physically through the labor process, like with position suggestions and words of encouragement, because this labor is hard. But throughout history, what helps us get through the process smoother is having the support system that we need through this transition, through this process, because it's a completely natural process, but it's not really meant to do alone, right? And what we see commonly these days is the mother is alone, more or less. Just because you're surrounded by people and loved ones who want to help and want to support you doesn't always mean that they necessarily know how to. And a doula is really good at like explaining what can emotionally support the mother so that she doesn't feel alone. Myself included, I know exactly what it's like to give birth in a room full of people and still feel completely alone, right? It's a sensitive process, and a doula helps transition the mother to be into motherhood in the smoothest way possible, and with as much information as possible so that she can get that birth, that experience that she most desires. Because it's a sacred process, and we've really gotten away from the emotional, intuition side of the sacredness of birth, and it's become really instrumental, mechanical, laid out for you process, like a conveyor belt that you get thrown onto. And at the end of it, many of us are left lacking that personal connection, that personal transformation that our consciousness, our subconsciousness craves in this birthing process. And a doula's job is to help you get the birth that you want. I mean, not that we're magic workers, okay? We can't do that. We can only help you set yourself up for success to the best of our abilities. but we don't know what's going to happen. Birth is unpredictable at best, and but we're there with you through the process, so you're not alone, and you have that support, informationally, emotionally, physically, whatever is required for you to get the best outcomes, emotionally mostly. But yeah, so we're not doctors, we don't deliver babies, we don't do any medical procedures, we can't promise you anything on that end, but we're here for emotional and informational purposes and support. So that's what a doula is.